Okay, let me pull up the statistics from today. Really good day today. Really good day. Go to calendar here. So finished up just over a 180 here to this morning. We peaked at about 320, gave some back off the top, but really wonderful day overall. Love the way that we finished up today after trading in a really hot market. Definitely one of my best trading days in recent memory. That puts us up close to this goal. Let's see here, go to the dashboard. 669, still continuing to make a really good strides. The goal is to make $1 million. Let's remind ourselves, what's the goal, the ground rules. What are we looking for each and every day we come into a session like this? Our ground rules for the series is the goal is to make $1 million. We need to review our trades, my execution, what's the market condition, which has been significantly hotter in recent times. Let me turn down the volume just a little bit here. It's been a little bit significantly hotter, as well as, my trading statistics has been improving continuously day in and day out, especially in a hot market. This is the time where you get really tested. Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what type of rules that you have in place? Are they good enough to continue this, to go up? Right now, we're hovering around a 1.92 profit to loss ratio. Our average winners are about double our average losers, and our win rate has been consistently around 40%. Today, it's been a little bit of a rocky situation, I would say, coming into this trading session this morning. Today we had a 30% accuracy, but a 3.92 win to loss ratio. So our average winners was about 4 times our average losers. That's amazing. That's really good. Our best winner today was about $300 on VSME, as well as our biggest loser today was about $71 on a DSY. DSY was really hard to trade. It was very similar to how DIAC traded today. If you haven't already seen the setup from yesterday, DIAC was a very, very tricky stock, and we're going to go over some of the execution from today, but I just want to talk about, how well I traded coming into today. Early on, I traded during a hot market cycle very early on when I first started trading, but it was very, very hard for me to take relatively good positions and end up holding them for really big winners. And so in a hot market cycle, I would take bigger losers because there's more volatility, and my winners would be so small because I would want to take them off so quickly. But, as I progressed throughout my trading career, I've been able to hold my winners longer and longer. And you can see here today on my performance, my average hold time was about 3 minutes long, and my average losing time was about 13 seconds, cutting those pretty much instantly when they're not working. And that's really the way to go, I think, in a market cycle like this, where there's a ton of opportunity. I take a couple losses here, and then a really big winner. A couple losses, small winners, and then a really huge winner. Same thing here, a couple of small wins, some losses, really big winner. Same thing here, and just continuing that cycle until eventually I take enough heat off the top, and I'm like, all right, it's time to walk away. The market cycle is, not performing as well as it was earlier. And so you could see, coming into just over 8 o'clock, we had so much action, and then after 8, there wasn't really much to work with for me in my trading. Yeah, Jared, it was a really good trading day today. We're pulling off, I think this is the 3rd green day in a row now this week. So I haven't had a red day, knock on wood. Want to continue this cycle as we're continuing going on. So let's look at some of the stocks that we traded today. The first stock I ended up trading from this morning was CIIT. CIIT was a previous former momentum stock. It ended up making a really nice move. Let me pull up the right stock here. So this one popped up really early on. If you haven't already seen the podcast from a couple weeks ago, I did a podcast with Ohad. Let me pull up the podcast here so you can see. I did a podcast with Ohad not too long ago. It was right in this area here. It's inside the mind of a profitable day trader. He ended up getting a $30,000 winner on CIIT just a couple of months ago. And, he explains his journey. And this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this right now, is because I had a conversation with him, and, a lot of it inspired me. And so I wanted to make this challenge, show my progression as trading. I'm not a beginner trader by any means, but I have had a little bit of experience in the market where now I can think I can start pushing and moving forward. And that's the way to go in trading, is you have some setbacks, but it's what you keep doing in the meantime and continuing to progress and get better over time. Small red day for me today, unfortunately, but good discipline, didn't make it worse, was not happy with it. Yeah, man, I think that's the way to go, is if you're gonna have a red day, keep it small and look, for the next day and continuing going on from there. But CIIT ended up making a really nice move here, coming in early on around 4 o'clock. So it pops up coming into 4, goes from about 127 all the way up to about $8 a share, pulls back, holds up, and then kind of just sells off the rest of the day. I kind of sat down in this area around 6:30. I was thinking maybe we can see a potential squeeze up over 650s. And so I end up taking my first trade in this area, looking for the break back over 550s. Unfortunately, it didn't end up working out. I cut my losses pretty small there. It took about a $10 loss on CIIT. Doesn't want to break up. That's okay. Let's move on to the next one. The next stock that we ended up trading is VSME, and this stock, let me tell you, made a move. It went from about 78 cents all the way up to about 650, and I was trading it along the way, all the way up. So let's pull up the 1-minute chart here to get a little bit of a better explanation of what happened. So I sit down around 6:30. I see that it pops up here pretty early on around 6:30. I don't trade it within this area, but as soon as it starts pulling away, I'm adding off this dip, looking for the extension, adding off the dip here around 7 o'clock, adding for the breakouts, adding, looking for the breakthrough 330s. I get the break. I end up buying this dip here, holding throughout this extension. And on this move right here, throughout this, squeeze, I end up pulling out, I believe, just over $300 on this move. And so it was absolutely insane. You can see one account here up a total of 182 on that one, and my other account up a total of 104. Let's see here, 104 in that one. So pulled in really nice trades on this. I'm going to show my execution here in just a second. I just kind of want to cover all of these moves because looking at the charts can give you a huge explanation of what happened. Later, just after this move, we ended up trading a stock, GCDT. This one ended up making a really nice squeeze as well, all the way up to a high of almost $4 a share. I was holding for an extension up through 4. Unfortunately, we just didn't get it. What platform do you use to track performance? Is it Edge Journal? Yeah, I use a Fuga Edge Journal. It's a Fuga Edge Journal platform. It's in beta testing right now. It's free for all the elite members over at DTSM. It'll be one of the first links in the description if you want to check that out as well. He's very fortunate enough to give us it for free over at DTSM, and we can test out the platform. And there's so much analytics to go through today alone. So I'm going to be breaking it down a little bit further inside the journaling platform. But this is GCDT. I actually missed this front side of the move up over 2. It ends up popping up to 250. I ended up buying this dip off of around $2 a share, and it's squeezing all the way up to 250 to 3, and I was capitalized on it. I actually took most of my profit off at 3, and then I was holding for the extension up through 4. It pops up to 365, it dips down, and I'm selling flat on the way back down around 250s here. But still, wonderful trade. I was adding on the way up and selling kind of on the way back down, but ended up pulling out about $70 on this stock here. And then at this point in the day, there was a lot of pops and lots of drops. I ended up getting caught on CLWT. I ended up taking a breakout trade on CLWT. So you can see here, this one ended up making a huge move all the way up to about $3 a share, up to $4 a share. I was looking for the breakout through 4. I added off a dip around 3, and it just continued to plummet all the way back down to $2 a share. And unfortunately on that one, I ended up taking a bigger loss, about $66. I tried to cut it on the bid. I was trying to cut it on the ass, sorry. I was a little bit too slow. It continued to push down a little bit further, and I wasn't able to capitalize completely on this move alone. And then we ended up having, let's see here, KIDZ. This one also made a pretty nice move. KIDZ. Keep pushing, you're closer than you think. Refining entries and exits more important than P&L to eventually pay. Yeah, I mean, today, A-Body, I mean, this was a pretty nice day. $180. I peaked at about 320s. Still need to dial in some entries and exits for sure, but want to continue moving up forward here on these moves. So I appreciate it, man. I'm getting up there. I just need to push more size. I think I'm still one of the biggest things that I did today was I did exactly what I needed to talk about from yesterday. One thing I needed to work on is, dynamic sizing, adding to my winners as they're going up. And that's what I was able to do as this, I started with one of my biggest trades of the day. I started with just 100 share position and then added on the way up. So 100 here, another 100 here, another 100, and total share position was about 400. Same thing with this one, about 500 on this one. And so adding on the way up, looking for those really big winners. That's exactly what I need to do on these type of moves. So pretty good day, just gave some back off the top. But let's look at KIDZ. This one I added off the top as well. Gave back a little bit of profit on this one. Let's see. This one you can see it's crazy move. I added for the break up over 520s. I got a quick squeeze here and then it ends up rejecting. So I had to sell in the red for this move, but just crazy volatility from 350s of 5 all the way back down to 260s. I seem to have a lot where I have an entry level on fire straight through 20 or 30 cents. Then I missed the move instead of getting, what do I do in those situations? So you have an entry level and it fires straight through it by 20 or 30 cents. And then I missed a move. So what you're saying, Jared, is you're getting in at a spot, it's dropping 20 or 30 cents, you sell, and then it's going without you. Is that what you're referring to, Jared? Let's see here. And then we had DSY as we're waiting for Jared to respond as well. DSY, crazy volatility. This one was just absolutely insane. Super hard to manage risk. I ended up taking a breakout up through the breakthrough about $5 a share. Ends up dropping from underneath me and then curling up without me. And I remember DIAC yesterday and I was like, you know what? Let me just leave DIAC alone. I don't want to, trade it too heavily. And so I let it go without me. I ended up taking a couple of trades here in this area, looking for the breakout, doesn't go. I take a trade here, doesn't go. Just looking and kind of FOMOing as well because I missed the move previously. And I probably just shouldn't have touched it at all or even just taken some dip trades on it. No, I've never heard of SK trading. But yeah, that was the stock. Jared said, no, sorry. I wanted to take the break of the pullback at 410 and then it squeezes at 435 before I can react getting in at 410. So if I'd be in higher than I wanted, I understand. So it's moving, it's jumping over the level that you're looking to get in at. The biggest thing, especially in high volatility situations, I would be watching the level 2 in the tape. If you're watching strictly the candles, then sometimes you can be a little bit too slow. You're watching historic price action on the chart. So if you're watching the chart specifically, you're always going to be behind. And so what I do is I read the level 2. So I'm watching the level 2 and the price action. If I see 410s, I might be getting in around 408 if that's my kind of trigger level, looking for the extension and the pop going up. I'm growing my account as well from last month to today. I already grew account 600. Awesome, Manny. That's amazing. Keep it up. Yeah, no, I'll definitely do that. Oh, sweet. No, I definitely look into it. Why don't you mostly do breakouts? A lot of the breakout trades that I end up taking end up becoming flushes. So I've kind of adapted my trading strategy to get into more dips trades and then adding for the breakouts. So you'll see I took a lot of breakouts today, to be honest, A-Body. So let's pull up some of the executions so we can go over. The first trades here were on VSME, some of the best trades. I end up taking a breakout up over 190s. It pops up, drops down. I end up selling flat. I get back in for the break here. I add off this extension and then looking for this crazy move from about 210s. I take a breakout through 230s, hold for the breakout through 3. I add back looking for the breakout through 320s. It ends up popping up here all the way up to a high of 330s. And then this is where I end up getting more dips as well, which I'll pull up here. So I guess I took a breakout 1, 2, 3, and 4 breakout trades. Let me pull up the other executions here as well. So you can see VSME. So this move right here ends up dipping. I end up buying the dip off this area, looking for the extension up through 3. It pops over 3, holds 3. I add for the breakthrough 3, adding up 3, 320s, taking some profit into 350s. It dips down. I hold for the extension up through 4, buy a dip trade from 4 all the way up to almost 5, about 450. I take another dip here, selling about 420s, looking for the breakout up over $4 a share. It squeezes. I ended up buying the top of this candle, and then on this move here, this is really one of the best setups. I ended up buying a dip off of 480s. It starts squeezing all the way from 5 to 550s. I add for the breakthrough 5. I take a little bit of profit at 6, selling break even on the rest. I try to look at the level 2, but sometimes I have that issue. I don't know either just to get in anywhere or just hold off, and it happens. Yeah, I mean, that just comes with intuition. You need to spend more time practicing in front of the market, and you'll start building better and better habits over time. SLB went from 312s to 750s in 5 seconds yesterday. Was the most insane stab I've ever had. Seen the tape milliseconds go like this. Yeah. I had a similar trade a while ago, I think back in kind of October time frame. I haven't caught one since, but there's really nice short squeeze. I traded GLE and it went from 185 to about $6 a share. Insane move. So I ended up capturing about $5 a share on that. I'm having a problem increasing my share size. I'm using now 25 to 50 and sometimes 100. Should I wait to have a month of profit? What should you recommend? I think sizing, what I'm starting to do as well in my own trading, because it's really hard to increase share size, because one good day with small share size can be really affected with one bad day, one small bad day with larger share size. So I think sizing into trades dynamically, kind of like what I did here today, where I was adding off of 3s, adding to the extension, and then as it pulls back, adding back with smaller share size here, back to full position for the breakouts, still holding, so my cost basis is low. I think that's the best way to go about it. Dynamic sizes. Not every trade should probably be the same amount of size. Some of the best trades should be the largest size, and the worst trades should be the smallest size. And so for me personally, I think the best thing to do is increasing share size when you have a cushion on the day. And so tomorrow going into it, what I would like to do is put a little bit of a cushion on the day and then start increasing my share size if I start seeing a move like VSME. It's not guaranteed. We might not get one at all, but I think it's super important to stay locked in, stay focused. And if we get a really nice squeeze, start increasing your share size as you're continuing to be more and more right. Because a lot of the times on bad trades, you can just cut those very quickly and not increase your share size as soon as the stock moves down further from underneath you. So that was VSME trades here today. Then we also had, I think, GCDT, which was a really nice trade. Ended up getting the breakthrough $2 a share, adding for the breakthrough 250s, got a little bit of profit. Here in this area, I was looking for the break up through 210s, 220s. I ended up getting in around 2. It pops up to 250s. I sell a little bit in this area because I was worried about a rejection. I add back, so I took half off. I add back 150 shares. Pops up to 3. I take some profit. I actually add here around $3, looking for the squeeze through 4. You can see a small little entry here, and I was looking for this to start pulling away. Unfortunately, what ended up happening is it pops up, drops down, and starts rejecting, and I sell flat on the rest of the shares. And so it could have been even a really nice winner off that move, but unfortunately it didn't pull away, and I was thinking, hey, maybe we can start seeing the squeeze just like VSME did. And so that was that stock here. This was my second leading gainer of the day after VSME. And then this is kind of where it started going downhill. So I ended up trading, let me see, about 320s on the day. So $326 of profit. And then I ended up giving back about 150 off the top, finishing around 181 on the day. So where did it go wrong? I ended up trading DSY and CLWT. CLWT was one of the stocks that I just jumped in at. I was looking for the breakthrough $4 a share, pops up to 420, then immediately rejects. I try to buy the bounce off of 3, get filled around 320s. It pops up and then immediately flushes on me. I tried to hit the ask, but I didn't get anything filled, so I had to sell on the bid on the way back down. And luckily, I didn't take as big as a hit all the way down to $2 a share. So I could have done a little bit of a better job selling on the way back down here, hitting the bid, but it is what it is. Just unfortunate loss on this one. And then I also traded DSY. And because I just took that loss on CLWT, I didn't want to take a loss on DSY, but it ended up happening anyways. I ended up selling here for a breakout, looking for an extension. It pops up to 550s and immediately rejects, curls back around. And, in this spot right here, I kind of got stage fright. I think I was using too much share size. I should have dynamically scaled down because of the risk. It popped up to $6, drops down to 450, all the way back up to 650, down to 5. Just huge range, just insane range. Then it curls from 5 all the way up to 10, drops down to 7, makes a crazy squeeze to 11, and then back down to 8, back up to 9, all the way down to 6. This stock just was all over the place. I mean, it was pretty insane. And so in this area, I was thinking about trading it. I ended up getting the breakout through 9 here for the extension up to 11 and selling on the way back down. I ended up trying to trade it just before the open as well, looking for the breakout through 1050s. I tried to take a trade off of 10. I got no fill. I added higher, and then it ends up popping up to 1050s and rejecting on me pretty much instantly. So chasing it after I got no fill on that trade, which was just a little bit unfortunate. It is what it is. You know, that happens. Let me see. I'll put the window tab up here as well of the other position window. But yeah, that was this trading day completely here today. And so let's look at some of the statistics, what I could have done better, what I could have done worse, and pull up the Fuga Edge journal. So right now we're sitting pretty decent on the month, about almost $400 profit, which is good. On the challenge that since we started, I'm about $669 in the profit. Our win rate is about 40% with a positive profit to loss ratio, continuing to make really good strides. Just need to continue to do what I'm doing now, just better. I need to increase this win rate. And one of the biggest things that I think I'm lacking is I'm taking stabs which I know aren't good trades, and then trades that are really good, I'm holding for longer, and that's what's helping me out a lot. But I think if I increase my accuracy and only traded the best quality setups, I would continue to increase my P&L ratio, but also have taken less losers, especially like a day like today. So if we look at today, average hold time was about 13 seconds. That's wonderful. Average hold time for the winner trades is about 3 minutes long. If we look at the specific trades today, you can see I took a bunch of losses to start and then a really good win. Took a couple more losses and then a really big win. And so in these areas, I think I could have done a lot better job, dynamically sizing and not taking those hits, and then waiting for that opportunity where I can strike really hard and capturing on. So going into tomorrow's trading session, I want to continue eliminating these really big hits, this $50 loser, this $50 loser. Both of those equate to about over $100. And so if I could maintain discipline and not add too high, wait for those dip setups opportunities, and then look in to get those stabs, I think that's where I could have done a lot better at. I ended up making back 41 and then losing 23 out the top, and then that's when I just was like, all right, time to walk away. I'm making a little bit too many mistakes here in a row, and I'm glad I did that. I was going back down, but if I just would have locked in 326, it would have been great. But I'm still happy, very grateful. This is the largest day since the challenge. Before that was the second day of the challenge, about 147. So continuing to make really good strides here. Continuing to increase my green days, which is good. So tomorrow, I'm hoping for a hot market again. I'm not too sure what we're going to get, but it's super important. Yeah, Fuga Edge is really wonderful. This one's for momentum trading specifically. And so you'll see a lot of qualities in this. We have an update coming into tomorrow or even Friday, he said. And so it's completely free for members at DTSM. If you want to check it out, it'll be the first link in the description. But wonderful platform, I will say. He's doing a wonderful job. And so one of the biggest things that we can see here, price range, day of the week, but then also we get by region. So right now, Hong Kong stocks are doing wonderful. They're my leading gainers so far, specifically in this Chinese momentum day trading cycle. I haven't done good on Canadian stocks or Australian stocks. Even Europe stocks are kind of iffy. Then coming into by industries, industrials are doing the best. We have consumer cyclical and consumer defensive doing really good. Communication services, we've had a couple of stocks do really well, and then some industries as well, and electrical equipment and parts doing really well. Dealerships, apparently I'm doing well on as well. A lot of these are probably just these Chinese momentum stocks. So this really breaks down exactly what we need to see. Let's look at some of the analytics from today on my execution. So SPRC, SUNE, VSME. Today, if I would have held my full position, could have pulled in a little bit extra here, 385. So that's something to keep note of. Yesterday, same thing. Hold on to my winners even longer. We have our momentum. So right now, trading between 7 to 7:30, doing the best. 8:30s are doing good. and then coming into the open, not doing that great. During the open, not a lot of trades, but during the close, I've done well as well. About $56 coming into 4:30, 6 o'clock. So doing the best around 6:30, 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30. So you can see a lot of my distribution of trades in that area. Let's see. The deep analytics is getting a huge update coming into the next one, which I'm very excited for. Let's look at some of the performance here, what we need to do better, continuing that accuracy win rate, needed to continue striving. We've had one drawdown in the challenge so far, coming in from the 29th to the 1st, and then now continuing to step up, which is awesome to see. We also have the psychology of trading on the best days, producing the best, having 42% win rate. Stocks with medium, stocks that are days that are cold, not doing so great. Unrated days, gotta figure out what day was that specifically. Let's see if I didn't rate any of these days. All of these days are rated. All of these days are rated as well. So continuing to rate it. Let's go to the journal here today. Let's break down some of the what was my setup, what was the thesis, what's the plan, what was the risk, and then let's also what can we do going better into tomorrow. And this is something that I look at each and every day. I sit down at the beginning of the morning. What do I need to do? What do I need to take in from the learning lesson of yesterday and bring it into the next trading day? And so I would give today a number 1 as well. Really hot market day. Let me pull up my voice recorder here so I can talk the text. So what was the setup? Today we had a bunch of Chinese momentum stocks for round 3 coming off a really hot market cycle. We had risk coming into this morning was about $200. We made coming in about $200, so hitting the daily goal. We peaked at around 320 today and then ended up giving back off the top. Definitely it could have been preventable, as they were very, very high volatility stocks. So that was the setup, the risk, and the thesis today. Save this. Put it into here. And then what worked, what didn't, and what can we do better coming into tomorrow? Let me think about this for a second. So what worked was a lot of the dip trades worked really nicely today. What didn't work was adding off an extension, chasing moves. And what do we need to fix tomorrow? I think I just need to start adding some share size into those really good quality setups. So what worked today was dip trades worked phenomenally, adding into winners using dynamic share sizing. What didn't work was FOMOing into moves, looking for extensions, catching those falling knives. And then what do we need to fix tomorrow? Don't FOMO into extensions, wait for those quality dip setups, and then increase share size to pull out some more if we get that opportunity to. So let me update the journal here as well. All right, so did we follow the pre-market plan? Absolutely. Sized up correctly, honored stop loss. There's one time where I didn't. Avoided FOMO entries, revenge traded. I would say I didn't revenge trade too much today. Took breaks after losing trades, stopped at max daily loss, which was my headspace, about a 5. Really good today. Really, really good trading day today. So let's look at some of these other trades here on VSME. So my first trade on it was a small red trade. What was that trade that I didn't taking? That was just before 7 a.m. So that was that small loss here, adding for the break. It was just underneath $2 a share. Okay, something to watch out for sure. And then ended up taking another loss here. So what ended up happening on this one? Added 200 shares. So added off this level. Sold at the bottom at 290s. Pops up, I add back for the breakthrough 2s, hold through this extension, pops up to 230s. Then pulls away, I add back here in this area. So, moving my cost basis up, but continuing to pull out these really nice winners. Then I take a small loss. Let me go to the other journal here. So in this area, I end up trying to buy the bounce. Badly timed it. Could have waited a little bit longer for the dip off the 90 MA and 250s, but from 250s I ended up catching this bounce all the way up and then buying this breakout. What time was it here? About 7:06. Okay, so This was $126 winner. Adding, looking for the breakout. Took a little bit of profit into the highs. Dips, pulls away all the way to 4. Took the profit, added back at the bottom of this bounce. Perfect trade. Sold going into 438. This trade was really nice. Ended up taking a smaller loss in this area. Small loss here. Okay, so this is... Okay, in this area specifically right here, I could have done a lot better. The problem that I had was I was looking for the breakout and I wasn't sure if it was going to hold or not. And so I ended up buying the breakthrough 4. It was a really nice entry. I just didn't hold. And I tried to get back in for 425. The order didn't fill. And I add here for the extension up through 450s. It drops down. I sell. Same thing for the breakthrough 475. Pops up, drops down. I sell. Goes up to a high of just underneath $5 a share before rejecting. And then even in this area, I could have bought the curl rejection pattern. So got to look for areas like this underneath 450s for that extension. And I could have captured from 450 all the way up to 5. Definitely could have done way better on that trade specifically. Okay, that's really good to know. So looking at a couple different candles, being more patient down here on the dips. Kind of like what I did here. Really patient and then holding for those extensions. Not chasing. Okay. And then we ended up trading, what is this stock? GCDT here. First trade on it was a winner, and then winner. So all trades were winners here. So I looked for the breakout through 2, pops up, drops down, and squeezes without me. Could have held on to that a little bit longer, stop break even. Make 2 hockey offsets to buy high for... What do you mean by that A body? I'm not quite sure what that means. Like 2 different offsets, one a lot higher than the other. Because I think one of them is actually 5 cents, so I might need to change that to 10 cents. Especially with the volatility that we're getting right now. Ended up buying this dip here, perfect entry, selling, adding back. So I sold half here, holding 50 shares, and added back at the third breakthrough 250s. Sometimes getting out of rejection and squeezing hard with 5 cents. Yeah, I have 5 cent offset and 1 key. So it ends up popping up here to a high of $3 a share, dropping back down, and then squeezing. I'm holding for the position up through 4. Pops up to 370s. I don't sell. It drops back down. I sell flat on the rest. So that was still a green trade, but not as much. Let's see here. KIDZ. Yeah, I got kind of not crushed on this one, but definitely could have done a little bit better. Adding high. There's no reason to add that high. Could have waited for a better quality setup. And then we ended up trading BSME back on that second attempt on this move right here. So added for the breakthrough 5, sold in for to 550s, cuddles back down, end up buying this dip here. Perfect dip trade off of 480s, ends up pulling away to 5, adding back for the breakthrough 550s, pulling some profit out at 6. At this point here, I thought it was going to really start pulling away. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times they're just gone. This one I got really lucky on adding. I added just before it squeezed the 550s, or I definitely could have caught lacking here. So, you know, anticipating the moves. This dip was really nice underneath 480s, looking for that extension. Saw that bids were holding, added for the breakout. So that was a $77 trade. And then I ended up taking a couple more trades on GCDT, small dip trades, and then DSY was really the crusher of the spirits this morning. You know, I definitely could have traded this one better. Took a small loss and then took a big loss right after that. Ends up curling without me, breaking back over 6, all the way up to $10 a share. Could have taken a small position in these areas. So we'll need to look back at the live recording and see, you know, what could I have done better. And then the last hit was on CLWT. So right here, adding high, selling pretty quickly, which is good. This dip was just horrendous. When you take dips, do you have a level in mind you're waiting for to take a dip by? Sometimes, but a lot of the times off dips, what I'm really looking at is the level 2 and the tape, and I'm, just feeling it. When you're in flow state, especially when you're trading in these levels, it's kind of just a great feeling when, like, all right, we're dipping down to 480s. There's a little bit of support here. I'll buy the dip, watch it go back up. So I'm really watching the bids and the tape speed to get in. So sometimes there are levels, key levels, VWAP, 90 EMA, 20 EMA, half and whole dollars, and other times it's just purely tape rating. It helped me so much where I was in 3 hands, 15 figures, hovering keys. Yeah. Yep. No, absolutely. I think I can definitely increase the offset on to about 10 cents here, especially with the volatility on, like, DSY was absolutely insane. So one thing that I could have done to prevented me from taking this big loss here is just to not trade it at all. As soon as it was dropping, just let it go. Wait to hold, base out, and then maybe get a dip off a 2 or something. My size is $100, made 86. Traded the backside, gave most of it back, finished with 18. Oh well, need to learn the better setups and walk away when... Yeah, I had something similar today. I wouldn't say as drastic, but I was up 320, and then ended up giving back about 150 off the top, going back to 180 on the day. Still really good, profit to loss ratio, but still that win rate for me, it's been crushing. So yeah, still a really nice day. Pulled out one of the biggest days since the start of the challenge. Still need to improve and continuing to get better, especially with larger share size. That's really where it's going to make the huge difference in this challenge as I continue to go. So pulls up, this trade here really took a heat. And then I ended up moving back to DSY for the last couple of trades here. Got some trades. So I ended up trying to buy the breakout, doesn't go. I sell, and I end up getting the breakthrough 11. I was looking for this to pull away to 12. It rejects. I was holding, I think, about 13 shares, honestly, on the way back down. 50 share position on this move here. Dips off highs or flushes until it lands. You see the tape lagging. The only dips I take are the ones that are just risky and take long. Yeah, I mean, personally, I think the reason why I'm green as much as I am now is because I end up waiting for dip opportunities, buying the dips, timing the stock really well, and then looking for it to make the next high. So, personally, dip trading for me has been really beneficial in my trading. And I, plan to continue doing that as well as some of the breakouts. But this move specifically here, you can see off of 10, this was just a FOMO trade. I probably shouldn't have taken this at all. Could have taken the breakout over 10 here. There was a lot of selling pressure around 1140s, and then immediately flushes back down and then rallies all the way up to about $20 a share before flushing all the way back down again, halting up. It's just been kind of trading within this range and now selling off, but insane rally from 11 to 20, $10 point move. You don't see that often, but in the past 3 days, INHD, we had what was it, PAVS, and now today DSY. Just insane back-to-back days. All right, so let's see what else do we need to look at. The overall market condition has been super strong in the small cap world. Very, very strong. Yeah, I'm planning to participate in the SpaceX IPO. Yeah, I've read a couple of books. Do you have any suggestions as well? I know you're big on some of those old traders as well. But I'm always open for more learning opportunities. I'm not the best trader in the world, but I've found a little bit of success recently, which is amazing. So 200 coming into the end of May, and then 300 since the start of the challenge. Continuing to move up really nicely. Let's see here. Go to some reports. Yeah, I need to continue here with the run rate. Reminiscence of a stock operator. Okay, absolutely. Who's that by? see, best symbols so far from the challenge. We had VSME, about $300. Worst symbol, DAIC. Didn't need to trade this one at all. Took a lot of hits that I shouldn't have on it. You can see really poor win rate. Thanks, Cora. I appreciate it, man. JMS, you can see all these stocks, 0% win rate or very low accuracy. What trade was this? 500 to 1K? Maybe it was just over that. Adding it, looking for the breakouts. Yeah, really just need to work on some of those accuracy hits. Looking for more dips instead of clear breakouts. Clearly the dips are working for me, so I need to continue looking for more of those opportunities. Once we get an update on the chart watchers, on Fuga Edge, what I'll be able to do is go to each trade specifically. So for instance, yesterday's trades, I'll be able to go to RGT and go to the chart and then scroll into the exact entry and exit. So we're going to get an update coming into today or tomorrow. And so I'll be able to see, what are the best trades. I can add it to the playbook on what time frame, and so I can get a better idea of what's working and what's not working on accuracy plays. Have a good one, Jared. Yeah, absolutely. Send it over on my Discord if you need to. I'd appreciate it. Where did I get the mic from? Ooh, that's a good question. Probably just online. I've got it. I've probably had it for about 4 or 5 years now. It's the Shure SM7B. But yeah, so let me see. Is there anything else I can look at here to give me a better picture going into tomorrow? Continuing the high trade count, which I think is fine. About 64 trades, 70 trades yesterday, and then 31 today. The day before, 47. Compared to the weeks before, a lot less trades. But we're in a market where I think trading more is better. Do you usually buy long and sell high, or are you doing call options? No, I typically just buy shares of a stock. So for instance, on VSME, let me show one of the best trades of this morning. Pull it up here. So pull up VSME. What I typically do is I'm looking for a dip trade and then looking to add off the extension and looking for the breakouts. So for instance, on this move, I'm looking for the breakthrough 3, holds 3, I add for 320s, I sell at 4, buy the dip off of just underneath $4 a share, selling into 440s. Holy small caps, yep. I typically sit down and I start live streaming around DTSM just around 6:45 in the morning, and I finish around 9:45. Sometimes, yesterday I traded pretty long, all the way till 4 p.m. Did a really nice recovery on the day. And then the day before, same thing, ended up trading into 4. I went down red, about $100, recovered all the way up to 17. And then on yesterday, went down about $200 and recovered all the way up to 126. Just silly trades in this area. Today, a lot more smoother. Went down red about $36 before, making a crazy screen back up all the way to 320 and then giving back some off the top. Just started trading a bit more active, but honestly, just adding to the portfolio. Yes, that's awesome. I think, actively day trading brings opportunities, brings volatilities, but it also brings risk. So it takes a lot of practice. I mean, each day I'm still trying to get better and better. That's why I'm doing this series to begin with, but I'm making really good strides. I'm trying to look here. What's interesting as well, we had CPOP move. This one was a 300% gainer. It moved from, as a penny stock, from 30 cents, halting up, halting down, and kind of just trading within this range now. But pretty insane volatility. Went from about 90 cents all the way up to 255, halting, screaming back down to 160s, back up to 250s, back down to 124. Now we're just holding this range. Just pretty crazy volatility, to be honest. We have about an hour and 20 minutes left until the close. I probably won't trade the close today. Yesterday's close wasn't that too great of action, but there was still a lot of opportunity. And then, coming into tomorrow, I'm hoping that this hot cycle can continue because it was such a great day today. CHOW, this one popped up as well. A little bit of cheap penny stock. Let's see, anything else move coming into market open? CNET, but not a lot of volatility on this one, or not a lot of volume. CIIT, not much. BATL. So this is actually a pretty nice mover from about 134 all the way up to 293, back down. Maybe it can give it up an attempt coming into after hours. Every time I size up, I get more FOMO and then motion starts to kick in. Get back to normal shares and back. It's tough. Yeah, that's the hardest part about sizing up, is that emotions really affect your position management. And so I still think dynamically scaling into trades help personally me so much more. Instead of taking, all right, I'm gonna go 500 share size first entry, I'll take 100 shares and then add as it continues moving up higher. That moves the cost basis up a little bit, but you can pull out some really nice winners based off of that. I change hotkeys during trading session. Yeah, sometimes I do that as well. But I try to script as many hotkeys as I can. So right now I have a 250 position, 150 position, and then a 50 share position as well. LUD moving up a little bit. How quick is the screener service you use? Is it comparable to other screeners where you can say it's a better option? Absolutely. There's a link in the description also for 10% off, but I wouldn't be recommending it to people if I didn't think it was really that good. It's extremely fast, and other people that use it also say the same thing. It's wonderful. So it's called ChartsWatcher. I use it for charting, scanners, and news, just all together in one platform. It's wonderful. The thing is, I like to be hyped, but normal, get attached to the dollar more. Yeah, I don't know if you've done this, A-Body, but you can also use real R and unrealized R, and maybe that can help you, set, your share size. Let's say you have a daily goal of $120. One R can be set as 120, and you can dynamically scale this to whatever you need. So you can use real R. You just go to your settings, your configure or your trading settings, and then type what your real R risk is. And for me, that's been able to really put in perspective when I start sizing up what I'm really looking for. So really great idea. I don't know if you've used something like that before, so you're not looking at the dollar amounts too much, rather just looking at the realized positions. Because I've struggled with that as well, as knowing that I'm sizing up, just pressing that button can sometimes get a little bit more hesitant. But I think it's super important if you're going to pull out larger and larger green days and continue to scale. Sizing up is so important, especially in a hotter market where you get more opportunities. You might have larger wins. I mean, it's pretty crazy today. 4-to-1 profit to loss ratio, pretty insane. Trying to see here, is there anything else that I can look at for today? A lot less trades than yesterday. We traded 15 different tickers yesterday. Today, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different stocks. So about half as many as yesterday. A lot more discipline on some of my moves, for sure. But just the end of today was really the worst part. I traded really well to start the morning off. How do you choose the stocks to watch? Well, I do it based on float, volume, price, news, and the symbol. And so what I'm really looking for is a low float. So anything underneath 20 million is fine. Under 10 million is even better. Under 5 million is better than that. Under 1 million is kind of like, I mean, it can be very volatile at times. So I'm looking for very low floats. I'm looking for high demand. Today we got a lot of stocks pop up with no news, but I think that's because we're in a little bit of a hot market cycle and a Chinese catalyst theme where we're getting pretty insane volatility on them. And so I'm looking for anywhere between $2 and $20 a share, but I've increased that threshold to about maybe 50 cents to $20 a share. So that's how I choose my stocks. And then I use screeners to scan the market like you're seeing here. So there's a bunch of different filters on this to look for specific stocks. And then I'll say, okay, this one's worth looking at. I'll pull it up. I'll give it a look. Not much volume. I'll move on to the next one. You know, we have a little bit more volume here, but there's not really a setup. So that's how I choose the stocks every day. Doing 500 shares in 5K size are the same thing. Pulling in $1 to $3 would be crazy. Yeah, 500 shares in 5K aren't that much different other than an extra zero at the end of it. And so it's super important to keep that in perspective in trading, because, you know, in 5K shares isn't really a lot in the market. I mean, it is, but not as much as 10, 15, 20,000 as some other traders take. Yeah, lots of Israeli, Hong Kong, and Chinese stocks recently. We've seen some Australia stocks pop up. They didn't do too well. Today we had FLD move as well, which is a US company that came out with breaking news. So this was FLD here. I think they alleviated like some sort of debt. So it popped up to 185, drops back down, and then tries to break over 160, but halts down and just sells off. Not much action on this one. But I think that's going to wrap it up here for me today. I do appreciate everyone for tuning in. If you haven't already checked out the community platform over at joindtsm.com, please do. I stream there live every day. There's over 500 hours of market hours on there, recorded and uploaded. We just had a weekly meeting today. It was actually a wonderful weekly meeting. We went over some trader statistics as they're continuing to increase their trades going in from the simulator. So beginner trader, but really doing some wonderful work. And we'll get an update coming in on Fuga Trader either tomorrow or Friday. So really looking forward to seeing that update there with the new charting, as well as some deeper analytics that we can go over. So tomorrow's gonna be a really nice day, as well as today. Just continuing to maintain these green profitable streaks. We have some red days fluttered in there every once in a while, but trying to keep those as small as possible and continue the green streak over again. So thanks everyone for tuning in today. We'll see you again coming into tomorrow's trading session, either at 6:45 or the next study session. So have a great day, guys. Manage your risk if you stay for the close,